Hey everybody, I'm going to break away from the normal BrewTube videos to do a video on repairing my Whirlpool convection oven that will just end up burning your food every time in the oven. So there is a problem that came up with it. It worked fine before. So I will show people how to repair it. If you own a Whirlpool GFE 461 LVS, similar to this one, and your food is burning, then this is possibly the fix for you for about $8. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is explain how these newer ovens work, the ones that don't have the well, it's got to be cleaned, the bottom element in there. The bottom element is actually in here, it's beneath this pan. The broil element, however, is exposed, and what happens, how these ovens work, because this is actually beneath the bake element, when you first turn these ovens on, the bake and the broil come on together even though you're only in bake mode, and they will bring your unit up to temperature to probably whatever set point your manufacturer has. Mine, I think it's typically about 30 degrees below your set point, whatever you set your bake at. It'll give you a beep and it'll actually turn off the broil element, and then the bake element will remain on and you can place your food in there. So what happens is, what was happening is that I'd first turn the oven on and I'd get the same response you normally do. The broil will come on to help preheat the oven. The problem was the broil never turned off. It would stay on the whole time. So even though the bake element was being told to shut off, and it did, the broil element remained on and continued to cook and burn the food. So I will show you how to repair this problem. It is an electronic problem, so if you're not comfortable with electronics and working with a soldering iron, then I would call a technician. Okay, so the best thing to do to get started is to kill the power at the breaker. Remove the drawer that underneath. Remove the drawer underneath so that you can access the power cord. And you should see it in there. It's a little dark, but you'll be able to pull the power cord out. Okay, so now the power is disconnected. And the next thing, if you're like me, you have hardwood floors, or you know, even lino can get tore up. You're going to want to place some cardboard under the front feet as you drag it forward. So I got two pieces of cardboard, so I'm just going to lift the stove up, slide it underneath both the feet, and then I'm going to tip the unit forward and slide, excuse me, just stay off the cardboard, slide it forward. On the front feet. Okay, so it's forward now and should have protected the hardwood so I can get to the back of the rig. So we'll have to take that. This is the back, of course, and I'm behind it, and we need to remove all these sheet metal screws on this panel here all the way around, and we can gain access to the control board, which is somewhere in here. Alright, so here we are. I know it's going to be a little dark, but this is the control panel. And the relay that you're looking to replace is the one that was sitting right here. Now I had to troubleshoot this and remove this relay because it was burning my food. Sorry, third from the left. And actually when you take these connectors off, it's going to say, one's going to say bake, one's going to say convect, one's going to say broil. and I think one's main power. Anyway, we have to take this board off of the machine, and there's one screw here and one screw here. We have to also remember to gently remove the ribbon cable. Instead, if you break that, you're going to be spending a lot of money. Right, there's a little release tab you have to squeeze as you're pulling. I recommend you grab it by the plastic and pull and wiggle. Alright, let's go. Get that out of there. I don't know if you can see this or not. There we go. There we go. There's one. And the other. Alright. Now that's the front panel. There are releases. It's easier actually to turn it upside down. Push, pull. I'll be able to work those out. Now don't worry about the connectors. You can only put them in one way. They are kind of coated, in a sense, with the way they're tabbed. Alright, the board, you have to get it out of this plastic holder. And there's also the connector here, which connects the display. That one there just pushes. Sorry, I know this is moving around a lot. It's just hard to do with one hand. You work that from the front and the back, I guess, is probably the best way. And you can pull that connector off. Now we can separate the plastic from the motherboard. There are these little plastic tabs here. I recommend you get a screwdriver of some sort. Of course, I didn't bring one. Alright, so the board is separated from the plastic. As you can see, I'd already removed the relay. I used desoldering braid to remove that in a soldering iron. I can show you that as well, how that works. Alright. As the soldering iron is heating up, I want to show you this is a desolder braid. You can get it at Radio Shack for $3 or $4, I think. You lay that directly over the solder joints that you want to remove solder from, and you place the iron on top of the desolder braid. Probably got my fat ass fingers in the way. And you can actually see the solder start to wick up the braid, and you'll have to keep using fresh braid to continue to pull the solder away. Once you have most of the solder out, what you can do sometimes, because there's still a slight bit of solder stuck to the inside of the ring, is you can take the iron and push on the pins, and you'll feel them give way. Once you feel them loose, do that to every pin, and then this thing should just fall straight out. For troubleshooting purposes, so you don't get yourself ordering a part you don't need, what you'll want to do is place your ohm meter or voltmeter on the ohm setting, and you'll want to test the leads. Make sure that they show 0 when you short the leads out. The outputs. These are the output pins for the relays. And with the machine off, I shouldn't get anything across these pins. They should be open, which they are. I don't know if we can do this dual thing or not. I'm getting nothing there. Nothing. Right? Yeah, nothing. Nothing. So, what was happening when I measured this one is when I measured across this one, it read zeros. So that was another way of confirming that the relay was bad. To identify the relay as bad, we've removed the relay with a solder wick. Now it's just a matter of replacing the relay. The part number that I used for mine, I gleaned right off the top of the relay. It's an Omron relay. I spec'd it out on Newark's website, and I ordered 2 because it's probably going to fail again, guys. So I ordered another one. So here we go. Let's replace that relay. My personal opinion is this relay is underrated for the job that it does. And if you've desoldered the holes properly, the new relay should drop in, and you shouldn't have to force it. Otherwise you're probably bending and flattening out a pin. So that relay's back in, a new one. And it's time to apply solder. Your best bet is to get a sponge, a wet sponge, not completely soaking wet, but damp. Solder. Always place the solder on the opposite side of where you're soldering. Push against the soldering iron and the bottom, and you'll see that that makes a nice little ring. You're basically bridging the solder across. Those of you who have soldered before know what I'm talking about. Those of you who haven't, be patient. Make sure your iron is at least a 40-watt iron. And there we have it. I'll clean that up with a little isopropyl alcohol and a brush. That's just flux from the solder. Alright guys, that was it. It's pretty simple. You just put it back together the way you took it apart. And the connectors all go in only one spot. Now, just make sure that you connect everything back up before you put the back cover back on, otherwise you'll be pulling it back out again. And when you plug it in, for those of you who did do what I said and killed the breaker, don't panic if it doesn't turn on. Remember, you turn the breaker off. Alright, I hope that worked out for you. I hope that saved you some money. And cheers.